Good morning. As you can see, it has snowed quite a bit here. And now it's getting warmer, so the snow is turning to slush, which is awful. But I'm not complaining. I still love being out here. Today is a big day for me, and I was really excited to make this video. Also a little apprehensive because it's definitely something up until this point that I am not, I wouldn't say comfortable. I would say I'm more worried about getting judged about when I talk about it. And that is the topic of addictions. And why today is important, because today marks my 1 year of being sober. And that is from alcohol and smoking weed. Now, at one point in my life, you could not have convinced me that I had a problem. And it wasn't that I was doing it all day, every day. It became a problem to me when it started to interfere with my life. And when I stopped enjoying who I was when I was drunk. And also when I started to learn the reasons and the situations that made me reach for wanting to alter my state of being. And that was often when I felt not good enough, scared, judged, bored. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm done with this. And it didn't happen overnight. I tried multiple times, and I would do well for a little bit of time. And then something wouldn't be a big event. I would just be at home and bored and thought, well, this will make the evening more fun. But it was the fact that I had convinced myself that I needed those in order to feel good. That's the part I didn't like. And when I tried to stop, seeing how difficult it was, that was the part I didn't like even more. And so last year on this day, I just decided, this is it. Like, I'm sick of hurting my health, hurting my body. I'm sick of waking up feeling like shit, even if it was one drink. I'm sick of feeling anxious and depressed after I have a drink or I smoke weed. And I had finally had enough. And this had been after years of attempting to stop. And I would say that the hardest part wasn't, maybe it was learning about why I was doing it, but it was also changing my environment around me. Not going out anymore, not hanging out with the same friends when really all we had in common was drinking. And it was hard because I felt like I was hurting those people, but continuing in those behaviors was only hurting myself. So at some point I had to choose me, and it was the best decision I've ever made. And I'm not harping on those people or judging anybody for what they do. I'm just saying this is what worked for me and how I was able to stay sober for a year. So my activities had to change. People I hung out with had to change. I don't go out anymore. I go out here and do these types of things because that is what I truly enjoy. And I realized a lot of times I was drinking to feel comfortable in social settings because I didn't want to go. And I felt obligated because it was good friends or family, and I would get guilted. And then I thought, okay, I'll go. And to ease my mind, I'll just have a few drinks and everything will be fine. And that's how I operated for a good chunk of my life. And it wasn't until I learned to start having boundaries and saying no that then I was like, I don't want to have drinks because I don't feel uncomfortable. A big part of why it's difficult, or why it was difficult for me to admit I had a problem, was the shame behind it. Was the shame in admitting that I need help. There's something that I'm struggling with. Because in our society, I feel like there is a lot of shame put upon addictions and mental health. And that's changing, which is really good. But I want you to know that there is absolutely nothing shameful in trying to soothe yourself. Because that is what addictions is. You don't know how to make yourself feel better, whatever the underlying issue or cause is, because you didn't learn when you were young. Nobody taught you how to self-soothe. Nobody soothed you when you were a kid. So when you got older, you had all this going on in your head and all these feelings, and you have no idea how to stop them. So the only thing that makes sense is to wipe yourself out with alcohol or drugs or whatever you choose to stop the pain. And in Western society, we haven't been up until now looking at addictions as a way to make ourselves feel better. Nobody wants to be addicted to anything. Everybody wants to feel good. And if your only way that you know how to make yourself feel good is by using some sort of vice, then of course you're gonna do it. What, as a society, we need to start looking at is the reason why people do it. What is that underlying trauma that hasn't been dealt with that is causing this behavior? It's not just, oh, they're addicts and they can stop whenever they want. It's having compassion and being non-judgmental. And sometimes there's nothing you can do to help somebody and you need to let them go, and that's terribly, terribly sad. But in the end, like I said, we're not God for other people. We can't make people do anything. And in the end, people are going to do what they're capable of doing. And if they choose their addiction, it doesn't mean they don't want to stop or you're not worthy enough for them to stop for, because nobody can ever stop for somebody else or for any other reason outside of them wanting to heal themselves. And maybe that can help people see that in the end, everybody is just trying to do their best and feel good. And to some people, it might not seem like that. But again, you do not know what it's like to walk in anybody else's shoes but yourself. And you'll never know what they feel like. So compassion is key for yourself and for others. A part of having self-compassion is knowing that in a world where especially drinking is seen as something so accepted and normal, you see all the ads for it, you see it everywhere in shows and movies, and not a lot of people talk about the downside and just, number one, the detrimental effect on your body. When you look at what alcohol is, ethanol, it's a poison. So whether you have one drink or 20, I mean, 20 is obviously worse than one, but one is harming your liver and the way your body functions. And we as a society have convinced ourselves that it is okay. So everybody does it, and the ones who don't do it are the odd ones out. So if you find this difficult, there's a reason why. And it's not because of you and that you're the one that has an issue and can't stop doing this. It's also because we live in a society where the majority of people do drink, and the majority of people do think there are no harmful effects from it. And I'm not trying to be biased and say you can't have a drink here and there or celebrate stuff. In my opinion, I feel that putting any type of poison in you, why? You know, why, if it's I only do it once in a while, to any other poison, you wouldn't say, I'm just going to do it once a year or once a week or just have one. Why does that make alcohol any different? So keep that in mind. This also doesn't mean that if there is an unsafe person or situation that you need to stay in it, because by not staying it means you don't have compassion. You know, your safety is first, and sometimes letting people go is the safest, most loving thing you can do. Remember that. So that being said, I would say the hardest part about this journey would have been admitting to myself that I did have a problem, because that's not something that's fun to do, no matter who you are. You don't want to admit that you need something to make you feel better, whatever your addiction is. And I just wanted to say that I'm super proud of myself, because this is a big accomplishment. You'd asked me a year ago, do you think I'll be sober for a year? I would have said, no. But it's day by day. You can't look that far into the future. You just have to take it day by day, sometimes minute by minute, and stay present, like I've talked about in all my videos. So I hope this helps you a little bit. If you're someone struggling with addictions, or don't even know you're struggling with addictions, maybe this video finds you and helps you out. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.